dear soul, you have given so much of yourself, your time, your energy, your heart to others. And while love is a beautiful gift to share, the most powerful, life-changing love you will ever experience is the love you give to yourself. When you learn to love yourself more than anyone else, you create the foundation for a life of peace, joy, and true inner freedom. You stop chasing validation. You stop shrinking to please others. You start rising. You start blooming. You are the constant in your life. From the moment you took your very first breath to this very second, as you read these words, you have been the one constant presence in every chapter, every experience, every heartbeat. People have come and gone. Situations have shifted like sand beneath your feet. Seasons have changed, but through it all you have remained. You are the one who has felt every emotion, witnessed every sunrise, endured every pain, and celebrated every joy. And yet, for so long, you may have looked outward for your sense of worth. You may have measured your value based on how others treated you, how much they loved you, or whether they stayed. You might have twisted yourself into shapes that pleased others, hoping that if you were kind enough, helpful enough, quiet enough, or giving enough, someone would finally choose you. But now, my love, it is time for you to choose you. You are the foundation of your own life. No one knows your dreams, your pain, or your journey like you do. No one has felt the silent tears you cried late at night when you thought no one was watching. No one has lived your story the way you have. And because of that, no one is more qualified to love and support you than you are. When you recognize yourself as the constant, you begin to understand the sacredness of your own presence. You start to realize that your approval matters more than anyone else's. You learn that your happiness is not in the hands of another, but in your own ability to nurture and care for your inner world. You see that the way others treat you is often a reflection of how you've been treating yourself. Too often we give others the power to define us. We believe that if someone leaves, it means we weren't good enough. If someone rejects us, we think it's our fault. But those are old stories rooted in fear, not truth. The truth is that your worth has never been diminished by someone else's inability to see it. Your light does not dim just because someone chooses to walk away. Your value is constant, just like you are. But when you begin to build a loving relationship with yourself, everything starts to change. You begin to speak more kindly to yourself. You stop criticizing every little thing and start celebrating your growth. You learn to listen to your needs, your desires, your boundaries. You begin to treat yourself like someone you love. And in doing so, you reclaim your power. The world may try to distract you with noise, comparison, and pressure to be something you're not. But when you remember that you are the constant, you come home to yourself. You become anchored in your truth. You find peace in your own company. You discover that you are never truly alone when you are connected to your own heart. This doesn't mean you don't need others or that relationships aren't important. Of course they are. But they are not the source of your worth. They are an extension of it. When you are rooted in self-love, the love you receive from others becomes a beautiful addition, not a desperate need. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You start attracting people who recognize and respect your light because you've already claimed it for yourself. Life becomes softer when you learn to be your own safe space. You become your own cheerleader, your own healer, your own guide. You start honoring the quiet voice within you that says, I matter, I'm doing my best, I'm enough. You learn to rest when you're tired, speak when you're hurting, and celebrate when you succeed, without guilt, without apology. There is a deep sense of freedom that comes when you realize you don't have to wait for someone else to love you the way you've always wanted to be loved. You can begin right now. You can wrap yourself in kindness, in patience, in gentleness. You can affirm your own beauty, your own strength, your own resilience. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not too much or not enough. You are becoming, you are evolving, you are rising. And in the midst of it all, you are staying with yourself, showing up for yourself, loving yourself. That is the real miracle. You have always been the constant in your life. And now you are beginning to treat yourself as such, with reverence, with tenderness, and with unwavering love. Everything you've ever looked for in others, you now begin to cultivate within. And as you do, you will see your entire world transform. Not because someone else finally gave you the love you were waiting for, but because you did. Self-love is not selfish. It's a spiritual responsibility. For far too long, you may have been taught that putting yourself first is wrong, that loving yourself is prideful, or that you must constantly sacrifice your needs for the happiness of others. But the truth is, genuine self-love is one of the most sacred acts you can offer, not just to yourself, but to the entire world. When you truly love yourself, you begin to live from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. You stop pouring from a cup that is always running dry. You start giving from a place of abundance, not obligation. You become more patient, more compassionate, and more present, not because you're trying to prove your worth, but because you are rooted in it. Self-love is the foundation upon which every other relationship is built. It's the inner soil that nourishes your soul. When you tend to that soil, when you care for yourself with honesty and kindness, you grow into someone who can love others more freely, without expectations, without resentment, and without losing yourself in the process. Choosing to love yourself is not about being self-centered. It's about being soul-centered. It's a return to your natural state, the place within you that knows you were created in love, by love, and for love. It's about honoring the divine spark that lives within you and recognizing that you are just as deserving of care, peace, and joy as anyone else. You were not meant to live in constant burnout, always giving and never receiving. You were not meant to silence your needs so others can be more comfortable. That is not love. That is self-abandonment. And every time you abandon yourself to please someone else, you chip away at your own light. But every time you choose yourself, you repair that light. You strengthen it. You let it shine a little brighter. Loving yourself means setting boundaries that protect your peace. It means saying no when your heart is tired and yes when your spirit is lit up. It means trusting your intuition even when others don't understand. It means choosing rest over hustle, truth over people-pleasing, and growth over guilt. You are not here to be everything for everyone. You are here to be everything to yourself first. And when you do that, something beautiful happens. You no longer seek outside yourself for permission to feel good. You no longer chase people, situations, or achievements just to feel worthy. You remember that you already are. Self-love is also the beginning of healing. Many of your wounds came from the times you didn't feel seen, heard, or valued. But instead of waiting for someone else to give you what you never received, self-love teaches you to give it to yourself, to sit with your pain and say, I will not abandon you. To hold your younger self in compassion and whisper, you are safe with me now. This is the responsibility. To be the guardian of your own soul, to create a life where your heart feels safe to open. To build an inner world so loving, so nurturing, that no matter what happens outside of you, you remain whole. When you love yourself, you become an example. You teach others how to treat you, yes, but more importantly, you inspire others to love themselves too. Your energy becomes healing. Your boundaries become invitations to deeper respect. Your joy becomes contagious. That is how self-love ripples outward. That is how it becomes a spiritual act. You cannot truly serve the world by abandoning yourself. You cannot lift others if you're constantly sinking. But when you honor yourself, when you fill your own cup, you overflow into everything you touch. Your kindness becomes genuine. Your words become empowering. Your presence becomes light. So release the guilt. Release the old story that says you must earn your worth through suffering. You don't need to prove your goodness by sacrificing your needs. You prove it by showing up authentically, unapologetically, and with love. You were never meant to betray yourself just to be accepted. You were meant to accept yourself so fully that others feel safe to do the same. That's what the world needs. Not more selfless martyrs, but more self-loving souls who walk in truth, lead with compassion, and live in peace. This is not selfish, this is sacred. This is not vanity, this is vitality. This is not indulgence, this is alignment. Self-love is not something you have to earn. It is something you return to again and again until it becomes your natural way of being, until it becomes your home. And in loving yourself, you honor the life within you. In loving yourself, you honor the divine. In loving yourself, you become the light the world so desperately needs. Speak kindly to yourself. You are always listening. In the quiet moments, in the stillness of your thoughts, your inner voice becomes the most powerful influence in your life. That voice can either lift you up or tear you down. It can either remind you of your light or echo the harsh judgments of the world around you. The choice is always yours. There is no one you speak to more than yourself. Every day, thousands of thoughts pass through your mind. Some you notice, many you don't. These thoughts shape the way you see yourself, the way you show up in relationships, the way you navigate life. And yet, we often speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to someone we love. We criticize, we compare, we diminish. We call ourselves names, replay our mistakes, and shame ourselves for being human. But what if you made a different choice? What if today you chose to speak to yourself with kindness, with compassion, with gentleness? What if you became your own best friend, your greatest supporter, your loudest cheerleader? You are not meant to battle yourself every day. You are not here to live in a constant state of self-judgment. You were created with care, with intention, with love. And that same love is meant to be reflected in the way you treat yourself. When you speak kindly to yourself, you don't ignore your flaws. You simply choose not to define yourself by them. You acknowledge your humanity and love yourself anyway. Kindness doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means looking at your imperfections with understanding instead of blame. It means saying, yes, I made a mistake, but that doesn't make me unworthy. It means offering yourself the grace to grow, the space to heal, and the time to become. The world may not always be kind. People may not always understand you, but your own mind can be a sanctuary, a soft, safe place where you are allowed to be exactly who you are. You can choose thoughts that build you up. You can choose words that affirm your value. You can choose to be gentle with yourself on the days when everything feels heavy. Start with your inner dialogue. Notice how often you criticize yourself for not being enough. Not thin enough, smart enough, successful enough, lovable enough. Ask yourself where those beliefs came from. Ask yourself if they are true. More often than not, you'll find that those thoughts are old echoes, not current truth. You are enough, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Your worth is not measured by productivity, appearance, or approval. It is intrinsic. It is sacred. And the words you say to yourself either nourish that truth or starve it. Every kind thought is like sunlight on a seed. It encourages your soul to grow. Every cruel thought is like a shadow. It dims your light. You always have the power to choose which one you water. When you catch yourself being unkind, pause. Take a breath. Ask, would I say this to a child? Would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then you don't need to say it to yourself either. Rewrite that thought. Replace it with something softer, something true. I'm doing my best. It's okay to not be perfect. I am learning, and that is enough. Speaking kindly to yourself is a daily practice. Some days will be easier than others. That's okay. What matters is that you keep choosing to return to love. Love for yourself, love for your journey, love for your becoming. You may not control every thought that enters your mind, but you can control how long you entertain it. You can decide which voices get to stay. Let go of the ones that make you feel small. Keep the ones that remind you of your strength, your beauty, your worth. You are not the things others said about you in anger. You are not the mistakes you made when you didn't know better. You are not your failures or your fears. You are a soul learning to navigate life with courage and grace. You are a heart that has endured and kept beating. You are a being of love, deserving of love, including your own. So speak kindly to yourself, not just when you've succeeded, but especially when you've fallen. Not just when you feel strong, but especially when you feel fragile. In those tender moments, your kindness is not weakness, it's medicine, it's healing, it's transformation. The way you speak to yourself becomes the way you live with yourself. Choose words that honor your truth. Choose thoughts that honor your journey. Be the voice that whispers, I believe in you when no one else does. Be the comfort you need. Be the love you crave. Be the safe place you've always searched for. You are listening. Always. Make sure the words you speak are worthy of the soul that hears them. Choose yourself every day, not just on the days when everything is going well, when you feel confident and put together. Choose yourself on the messy days, the quiet days, the days when doubt whispers louder than hope. Choose yourself when no one else does. Choose yourself when you feel overlooked, unheard, or forgotten. Because you are not here to live for the approval of others. You are here to honor your truth. Every morning you wake up, you are given a choice: to abandon yourself for the sake of fitting in, or to stand firmly in who you are and what you need. That choice may seem small, but it is the most powerful one you will ever make, and it must be made not once, but again and again. Choosing yourself is not a single moment, it is a practice. A daily return to love, a daily declaration, I matter, my feelings matter. The world may tell you otherwise. It may reward self-sacrifice and celebrate those who overextend themselves to please everyone else. But at what cost? When you constantly choose others over yourself, when you silence your truth to avoid discomfort, you lose pieces of yourself. Slowly, quietly, you begin to disappear. And then one day you wake up wondering why you feel so empty, so disconnected, so tired. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You don't owe anyone a version of you that is always giving and never receiving. You owe yourself honesty. You owe yourself rest. You owe yourself care, nourishment, protection, and love. Choosing yourself doesn't mean you become selfish or inconsiderate. It means you become whole. It means you stop living in fragments, showing up in pieces, pretending to be okay when you're not. It means you stop waiting for someone else to pick you, love you, save you, and you begin doing that sacred work yourself. You learn to listen to your body. You honor its signals instead of pushing them away. You recognize when you're overwhelmed and you pause. You notice when something doesn't feel right, and instead of brushing it off, you inquire gently, "What do I need right now?" You become the one who tends to your inner garden. You pull the weeds of negative self-talk. You water the soil with compassion. You bask in the light of your own presence. Choosing yourself looks like saying no without guilt. It looks like walking away from what hurts, even if it once felt like home. It looks like taking up space, using your voice, expressing your needs. It looks like prioritizing your peace, even if others don't understand. It looks like loving yourself so deeply that you no longer chase what depletes you. There will be times when choosing yourself feels uncomfortable. You may fear rejection, judgment, or loneliness. But the real loneliness comes from abandoning who you are to be loved by someone else. When you choose yourself, you teach the world how to love you. When you respect your boundaries, others learn to do the same. When you shine your light, you give others permission to do the same. You are not here to live a life that pleases everyone. You are here to live a life that feels honest, aligned, and free. You are not meant to shrink to make others comfortable. You are meant to expand, to grow into your fullness, to explore your truth, to embrace the essence of who you are. You may have been conditioned to put everyone else first, to make yourself small, to sacrifice your dreams for the sake of duty or tradition. But today, you get to rewrite the story. You get to step into your own power. You get to say, "I choose me." And when you do, you begin to heal. You begin to rise. You begin to see yourself clearly, not as broken or not enough, but as worthy, radiant, and whole. You stop waiting to be chosen, and you realize you already are. By you, and that is enough. So let this be your daily prayer. Today, I choose myself. I choose to listen to my heart. I choose to speak my truth. I choose to care for my soul. I choose peace over pressure. I choose alignment over approval. I choose love, real love, starting with the love I give to me. You do not have to earn this choice. You do not have to justify it. You simply have to remember you are the guardian of your own life. No one else can do this for you. And you are worthy of being chosen freely and without hesitation. Choose yourself every day, especially on the days it's hardest. That's when it matters the most. There are wounds we carry that no one else can see. Wounds from words that cut deep, from love that was withdrawn, from promises broken in silence. These wounds may not bleed on the surface, but they live inside us, shaping the way we think, feel, and show up in the world. We try to hide them, cover them up with a smile, or bury them under a busy schedule, but no matter how far we push them down, they remain, quietly asking to be seen, heard, and healed. Healing does not begin with judgment, it begins with compassion. True healing asks us to meet our pain not with criticism, but with gentleness. It is not about forcing ourselves to move on or pretending nothing happened. Healing is the slow, sacred process of returning to the places within us that hurt and sitting with them tenderly, not to shame them, not to fix them, but to love them back into wholeness. You do not have to earn the right to heal. You do not need permission to feel what you feel. The very fact that you hurt is enough reason to offer yourself kindness. You are human. You have lived through things that left you feeling broken, unseen, or unsafe. But you are not broken. You are a soul that has experienced pain, and now you are being called to transform that pain with compassion. Compassion means holding your younger self in your arms, your inner child who still remembers the rejection, the fear, the confusion. It means whispering to them, "You didn't deserve that. I'm here now. You are safe with me." It means becoming the loving presence you may not have had when you needed it most. When you allow yourself to feel, you allow yourself to heal. Emotions are not weaknesses. They are messengers. Grief tells us we care deeply. Anger tells us our boundaries were crossed. Fear tells us we need protection. And sadness tells us something important has been lost. Each feeling carries a truth, and every truth deserves compassion. Begin where you are. If all you can do is place a hand over your heart and breathe, let that be enough. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Feel the rhythm of your breath. Proof that you are alive, that healing is still possible, that love is still present. You do not need to have all the answers. You only need the willingness to be kind to yourself right now in this moment. The inner wounds may tell you lies. You're not good enough. You'll always feel this way. You don't deserve love. But you can speak back to those lies with compassion. You can say, "I am learning. I am growing. I am not my pain. I am not my past. I am love in human form." Every time you choose a loving thought over a painful one, you take a step toward healing. Every time you forgive yourself for not knowing better, you move closer to peace. Healing is not a straight line. There will be days when the pain resurfaces, when the old stories feel real again. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're being invited to go deeper, to peel back another layer, to offer yourself even more tenderness than before. Let every setback be a reminder to love yourself more, not less. You don't have to rush the process. There is no deadline for healing. The heart works on its own time. What matters is your intention to show up for yourself, to hold space for your pain, and to choose compassion again and again. Let your healing be a ceremony of self-love. Light a candle, write yourself a letter, cry if you need to. Laugh when the joy returns. Be present with it all. You are worthy of your own attention. And as you begin to heal, you begin to see the world through softer eyes. You stop projecting your pain onto others. You stop needing others to carry the burden of your wounds. You become free, not because the past has changed, but because your relationship with it has. You carry your experiences not as chains, but as wisdom. You become whole again, not in spite of your pain, but because you dared to love through it. So go gently, go slowly, speak softly to the parts of you that still ache. Let your healing be a song of love, a lullaby that says, you are enough. You have always been enough, and you are not alone. The compassion you offer yourself today becomes the foundation for the joy, peace, and love you will feel tomorrow. Keep choosing it. Keep choosing you. You are worthy of a life that feels light, a heart that feels safe, and a soul that feels seen. Let the healing begin there. Let self-love be the new standard, not something rare or reserved for the lucky few who seem to have it all figured out, but a natural way of being. Let it be the ground you walk on, the air you breathe, the energy that moves through every decision you make. Because self-love isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's not vanity, arrogance, or selfishness. It is a return to truth, a remembering of your worth, a deep and sacred honoring of who you are. For far too long, we've been taught to seek love outside ourselves, to chase approval, validation, and belonging in the eyes of others. We've been taught that our value lies in how much we give, how much we achieve, how well we perform, or how little we ask for. But true love, lasting, unconditional, healing love, must begin within. Self-love is the foundation of a healthy life. When you truly love yourself, you stop settling for crumbs. You stop tolerating relationships, jobs, and habits that hurt your spirit. You stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You begin to choose differently. You begin to speak up, to walk away, to say yes to what lights you up and no to what dims your light. You no longer betray yourself just to keep the peace. You become the peace. Loving yourself doesn't mean you'll always feel confident or have everything figured out. It means you show up for yourself even when things feel messy. You speak kindly to yourself when the world gets loud. You forgive your missteps. You hold space for your healing. You don't abandon yourself, even on the days when it feels like the whole world has. Let self-love be the new standard in how you treat your body. Nourish it, rest it, move it in ways that feel joyful, not punishing. Listen to its signals, respect its limits, celebrate its strength, its softness, its resilience. Your body is not your enemy. It is your home. Let self-love be the new standard in how you speak to yourself. Words are powerful. They can build or break. So speak to yourself the way you would to someone you deeply love. Replace harsh criticism with understanding. Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I am learning and growing." Replace "I'll never get it right" with "I'm proud of how far I've come." Your mind hears everything you say. Let it hear love. Let self-love be the new standard in your boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are bridges to deeper connection. They protect your energy, your peace, your time. They are not a rejection of others, but an act of reverence for yourself. When you say no to what harms you, you create space for what heals you. Let self-love be the new standard in your relationships. Don't just look for someone who loves you. Be someone who loves yourself so fully that others have no choice but to meet you in that same energy. When you love yourself, you teach others how to treat you. You no longer chase affection. You attract what aligns. And when it feels hard to love yourself, and there will be days when it does, remember that self-love is not about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's about being present with your humanity. It's about choosing grace over guilt, softness over shame, and healing. We live in a world that profits off our insecurities, our fears, our constant striving to be better. But you don't need to be fixed. You need to be loved. You don't need to become someone else. You need to return to who you've always been beneath the noise. Whole, worthy, radiant, and enough. Let self-love be your anchor and your compass. Let it guide you back to yourself when you feel lost. Let it hold you in the dark. Let it be the light you walk toward, no matter how long the journey has felt. Because when you love yourself, you become unshakable. Not because life stops being hard, but because you stop being hard on yourself. Every act of self-love, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom. It is a quiet revolution, a declaration that says, I choose me, I honor me, I love me. So let self-love be the new standard. Let it be the baseline, the non-negotiable, the way forward. Not just for today, but for every day. Not just in your thoughts, but in your actions. You are worthy of love. Not someday, not if, not when. You are worthy now. Let that be the truth you live by. Let that be the new standard.